Hi everybody. Been gone a while, huh? Took a break. I hope you saw the video about the lift. It's done except for painting and staining. I was inspired by somebody else on YouTube today to do a video, and not just that, but by all the properties that have been bought up around here lately. It's been crazy. One came on the market, didn't even have the picture on it yet, and it was sold in 4 hours. 4 hours. A 1-bedroom, 1-bath property sold in 4 hours. It's insane. You know, I wanted to talk about living a simple life versus an easy life. Now, living a simple life generally means living with few material things, doing things in maybe natural ways, avoiding things like debt, complications like debts. Whereas easy living, on the other hand, to most people, would be associated with living with luxuries. And, like that money can buy, not having to worry about anything. But the simple life is hard work. And an easy life usually means being able to avoid work, having more time to play. I submit, though, that an easy life is kind of like a unicorn. Unless you have inherited your money and you don't intend to make any more, to add to it, you're going to be working a large portion of your life. The rich generally work extremely hard. They work long hours, and they dedicate themselves to building businesses, and the wealthy are not lazy people. Generally, they are people who work above and beyond the 40. They don't work a 40-hour week because they're working for themselves, and they're building businesses, and they are hiring other people who do work 40-hour weeks. But I kind of think a truly easy life is really, there's not very many of those, truly. A simple life is possible. But it's not going to be easy. And I would submit to you it's rarely easy. We left jobs making almost $80,000 a year and having, at the time, almost no savings. And we still had 2 kids in college. And we chose what I call voluntary poverty. But I felt I was leaving that for a kind of rich that money can't buy. I wanted a slower stress life, and full of nature and sunshine and fresh air, and frankly, yes, less human contact. So we left those jobs, and except for a period of my life when I worked as a realtor to put my sons through college to pay for the things that their scholarships didn't pay for, I didn't work. I was a stay-at-home mom. And I cooked their breakfast, and I packed their lunches, and I was often in the schools as a clinic mom, as a volunteer. So I had a complicated life. I mean, most mothers have a sort of a complicated life, right? There's no simple life with children. I don't think if you're a homesteader or you're in the suburbs, it's no really simple life with children. But I do find that we have more disposable income now. I've said this before, than we ever did when we were making almost $80,000 a year living in the suburbs. Our wants have changed. We see what we don't need. And what gives us joy and what fulfills us now are just different things. Not all days are extremely satisfying. Because remember, we left that life over 18 years ago, and we were in our 40s then. So we lived that life when we were in a different physical shape, even though my husband still had degenerative disc disease. Now it's far advanced than what it was. All the moving parts don't work as well as they used to work, at least on me. Although I still have a lot more muscle mass than I did when I was a suburban mom, I lift weights. I have to throw those 50-pound feed bags over my shoulder. I'm up and down the stairs constantly, back and forth to the barn. You know, choices to me are limited in civilization. It's weird. It's like you think you'd have more choices, but to me, it's like there's pressure from all sides. You people expect that you are supposed to do things, have certain things, do things a certain way, be a certain way. It's hard to be a rebel in civilization. It just really is. Boy, it really would be more now than it used to be. And it's interesting how now the conservatives are the rebels instead of the other way around. It's the strangest thing. But, you know, here at this place, we have autonomy. Big word there. Big word there. I found out not long ago when they held the autonomous zones that they didn't really understand the word autonomy. It means being self-reliant, not depending on other people to bring you things. You know, autonomy, it means self-reliance, it means independence, it means self-direction, it means liberty, it means choice. And when you're asking people to bring you pizza and you can't grow a vegetable because you don't have a clue how, you don't have the skill sets, you can't really be autonomous. But that's what you are out here in the country, this kind of life. A simple life is generally a more autonomous life, I found. You've got to have the right mindset. You have to learn skills. But once you have the skills, they're yours forever. You know, life is simple here in that we can do as little or as much as we want. Now, you know, that said, there are jobs that must be done. You have to get in. If you have a wood stove, you've got to get in the firewood. If you don't buy the expensive firewood somebody else has cut, which we've had to do a few times because my husband cannot cut wood like he used to do. We have an electric wood splitter and it works great, but you got to have the wood cut to split it first, and keep a chainsaw in working order. But you know, you've got to have the wood for the wood stove, and you've got to feed and water livestock. Like today, it's pouring rain. Do you think I want to go out there in the rain and see to Snow's food and water? You know, so my crippled hen, but got to in the middle of the day, leave her the food and water. What does she do? She backs up to it and she poops in it. So we've got to clean out our food and water at midday every day. We've got to see to her needs. But generally, livestock, they have high water needs. That's a side note. If you're looking into your water storage, don't forget your livestock and your pets, because chickens, for example, I know, have an extremely high water need. So never forget that you're also storing for them too. But, you know, and you have to keep the jungle back from your door. And this, down here in the South, it grows like crazy. And if you don't do something to beat the jungle back from the door, it's going to overtake your house. You've got to keep that going. And that involves keeping equipment running or hiring somebody else to do it. There are definitely jobs that have to be done. And, you know, for the most part, we do pick and choose what we do and what we get and what we buy, because we're not rich. We have a lot of disposable cash that we can use, but that doesn't mean it's unlimited. That means we still have to make choices. We chose years ago never not to go on vacations. We don't go on vacations. We never do. We don't miss doing that. I don't want to leave here. Now I definitely don't want to leave here. But, you know, choices in this kind of life are generally fairly simple. Now, you know, it's not easy when we're hurt or injured or just exhausted mentally, and you still have to go feed and water your livestock. You still have to tend to your animals. You still have to do certain things around here. But, you know, it's easy to stop, rest, recharge. If one of us is okay and the other one has issues, then, you know, you've got a partner in that. But, you know, homesteading's not easy, and sometimes it's not even simple. Animals get hurt, injured. They become sick. weather and pests can destroy your garden. You can't control the weather. You can't control late frosts. There's all kinds of things that you cannot control. Your equipment breaks, has to be repaired, or it has to be replaced. And I have a feeling that city folks buying up all this property around here so quick are going to be sadly disappointed and frustrated when the simple life that they think they're buying into is not as simple as they thought, and that they're just not really equipped for it. Like all the morons buying up all the chickens when all this started, and they snatched up all these chickens without knowing anything about them. They killed them all, or they were looking for homes, or they set them loose in a park, like thinking that they're going to take care of themselves when they obviously can't. You know, sitting on the porch of your cabin in the woods, sipping tea or coffee, listening to the night birds is wonderful. But you know what? You know, or looking over your beautifully rolling fields is lovely. But somebody got to mow the fields, and your cabin, you know, you're surrounded by wildlife, and sometimes things want to get into your attic, and they want to eat your wood on your house, and it's not a romance here. It's like the people treat it like a romance novel, though. I mean, they just really do. And the country's not silent. It's full of machinery and gunfire and neighbors who have loud parties on holidays or love to roar their ATVs around your property. Ask me how I know this. So I just feel a lot of these people are not going to be happy with the fantasy when their fantasy falls apart. So I guess what I'm saying is look beyond the romance of the simple life and realize there's more to it than what's on the surface, and more to it than pretty postcard pictures on Facebook. So yes, you can have a simple life, but simple does not mean easy. So that's my talk for the day. No more chickens have died. Hector's still limping. And in the middle of the night, I heard caterwauling going on, and I think 2 foxes were fighting out here. So wildlife goes on. The deer are insane. I've seen up to maybe 10 deer on my game camera, and I caught a picture of a doe that is not turning the winter coat, but she looked like she was elderly, like gray as in old. I've seen her several times on game camera, and it makes me wonder, how did she get to be so old? Probably because if she's hanging around this property, it's probably because she's hung around this property all these years, because we don't allow hunting here, and so far we haven't hunted on this property. But that's not off the table. So, catch y'all later. Bye.